Glacier Ridge Sanctuary in Montana is enveloped in an unprecedented silence. Every individual is frozen in disbelief, their cameras hanging from their necks, neglected. A scene unfolds before them that challenges the well-established understanding of wild animal behavior. Veteran wildlife experts question their decades of experience as a massive brown bear, weighing nearly 400 pounds, performs actions that are pure wilderness. Marcus Bennett's empirical comprehension is undermined by the evidence he observes, despite his 23 years of rehabilitation work at the sanctuary. The morning begins with an appearance of ordinariness. Marcus's truck ascends the gravel road as dawn paints the sky in delicate shades of orange and pink. Today, his weathered hands grip the steering wheel slightly tighter due to the urgency he felt from an early morning call. He was informed of an unusual occurrence at the northern perimeter that required his immediate attention. Sarah Chun, the sanctuary's principal wildlife observer, greets him in the parking lot. Her typically composed demeanor has been replaced by scarcely contained excitement. She briskly leads him to the observation room, stating that the cameras have captured something extraordinary. For the past 3 days, a female brown bear has been circling the same section of the fence, exhibiting behavior entirely unlike that of a typical untamed bear. Marcus watches the footage in the dimly lit observation room, his astonishment growing. The bear maintains a respectful distance and moves with deliberate purpose, showing no fear of human structures. However, it is a small detail that causes his coffee cup to slip from his grasp, a unique scar on the bear's left ear. It is a mark he recognizes instantly, one he knows as well as his own reflection. His mind is transported back to a frantic morning in 2016 when the scar was still a fresh wound on a frightened bear cub named Luna. Luna's presence at the sanctuary had garnered attention throughout Montana. She had been barely able to sustain life when she was discovered inside her mother's body, a victim of illegal hunting. The media described her survival during those critical early weeks as a miracle. Marcus developed innovative rehabilitation techniques specifically for her, spending countless nights sleeping beside her enclosure. Their bond evolved into something that defied conventional wildlife protocols. These aspects of their story were never reported. As Marcus watches the footage, memories flood back. Luna's first catch, which sent water splashing over them both. The distinctive rumbling sound she made exclusively for him during morning feedings, the way she would sit and raise her right paw, a behavior she invented herself to demonstrate she was ready for instruction. Luna's release had been necessitated earlier than planned due to the sanctuary's mandatory budget reductions in late 2016. Marcus's heart had broken at the farewell, but Luna's tracking collar provided consistent updates, confirming her success in the wild. By 2020, Marcus had been forced to accept that their extraordinary chapter had closed when the collar's battery finally died. Every expert had assured him that wild animals do not retain memories of their human caregivers. The brief period of human contact would be erased by instinct, allowing them to continue their journey. However, 8 years later, Marcus now questions everything he thought he knew about wild animal behavior. The bear in the footage exhibits the same patterns he had helped Luna develop. She moves with the same methodical approach he had taught her to investigate her surroundings during rehabilitation. But it seems impossible. Luna should be in a remote wilderness, far from human settlements. The likelihood of her return, let alone her ability to recall any aspect of her rehabilitation, is beyond the realm of scientific comprehension. Marcus realizes his hands are trembling as the footage ends. If this is indeed Luna, his convictions about wildlife rehabilitation are about to undergo a profound transformation. He checks his radio battery with practiced efficiency and straightens his jacket. Turning to Sarah, he instructs her to prepare the research crew. If this is who I think it is, we're about to witness something unprecedented in wildlife conservation history. As Marcus exits the observation building, the ground remains shrouded in morning mist. The fragrant aroma of pine and early spring growth lingers in the air. The morning sun begins breaking through the clouds, illuminating the sanctuary and marking the start of what could be one of the most extraordinary moments in wildlife conservation. The sanctuary commences its meticulous operations. Time seems to halt. Marcus positions seasoned staff members at strategic observation sites, ensuring they are ready to document any potential events. The morning light intensifies, burning away patches of fog and revealing the vastness of the wilderness. A weight of anticipation settles over the team. They are aware they may be about to witness an event unprecedented in wildlife research. Sarah coordinates the research crew from the primary observation tower. Over the radio, she confirms that all cameras are operational and motion sensors are active along the northern perimeter. Her voice carries the controlled excitement of a scientist on the brink of discovery. They observe the subtle changes in the forest, the retreat of small animals, the sudden hush of bird calls, as a large predator approaches. Marcus checks his wristwatch. 8 years ago, Luna had anticipated her morning training sessions at exactly 7:15 a.m. A tingle runs down his spine at the coincidence. He recalls the many experts who insisted that rehabilitated bears forget their human connections upon release. They always claimed that wild instincts take over, that an animal's brain is incapable of retaining such memories. And yet, something continues to draw this bear back to the sanctuary. Marcus lifts his binoculars and scans the tree line. The morning breeze carries the familiar sense of the sanctuary, subtle hints of cleaning solutions, fish being prepared for the resident animals, fresh hay from the storage barn. Scents that once signified home for a young bear named Luna. Movement catches his eye. His grip tightens on the radio. The forest boundary seems to ripple. Birds take flight. Then, an enormous brown bear emerges from the shadows with breathtaking grace. Her movements hold the confidence of an apex predator, yet her actions appear almost deliberate. She pauses, testing the air with a practiced attentiveness, just as Marcus had once taught her in their scent recognition exercises. Sarah murmurs through the radio, visual contact confirmed. The subject is approximately 200 yards from the perimeter fence. Estimated weight, 400 pounds. Strong muscle definition. Healthy coat. No signs of injury or distress. Her clinical description barely masks her growing excitement as the bear moves closer. Sanctuary security protocols typically require immediate action when a wild bear approaches, including the implementation of warning sirens, deterrent measures, and emergency responses. However, Marcus silently extends his hand, requesting they wait. This bear does not exhibit any of the typical indicators of a wild animal investigating human territory, such as territorial marking or aggressive posturing. Rather, she appears to be moving with a sense of purpose. They monitor her meticulous approach using observation cameras. She maintains an unobstructed line of sight with the observation posts, adhering to a route that maximizes visibility. Wild bears frequently employ concealment, traversing dense vegetation and shadows. It appears that this individual desires to be observed. The behavior is so extraordinary that even the skeptics on the research team lean forward, their notepads forgotten as they observe. Marcus's larynx becomes constricted as the bear approaches the 100-yard mark. Her stature is a source of respect even from this distance. She possesses the confidence and wounds of 8 years in the wilderness. There is no indication that she has been domesticated or accustomed to humans. She is the epitome of natural grace and untamed power. However, there's something about her movements that evokes the juvenile bear he once knew. Complete silence settles over the sanctuary. The gravity of the situation is apparent even to the resident animals. Sitting in a tiny clearing 90 yards from the fence, the bear halts. Marcus employed the same training positions during her rehabilitation, which are reflected in her posture. It may be a mere coincidence. They are all aware that natural bear behavior occasionally resembles instructed responses. However, even the most incredulous minds begin to harbor doubts. The silence is interrupted by Sarah's voice, which is scarcely audible through the radio. Marcus, you must observe this. Camera 3 should concentrate on her left ear. The high-definition magnification reveals a small scar, distinctively shaped like a crescent moon, a mark Marcus is already aware of in his heart. It is the mark that bestowed Luna with her name many years ago. He trembles as he grasps his radio. "I am departing," he declares, his voice more composed than his emotions. "Maintain positions. No intervention unless I signal." The research crew exchanges glances. The protocol firmly advises against approaching wild bears. However, they all acknowledge that this situation has transcended conventional precautions. The bear's head turns as Marcus begins his descent from the observation post. Monitoring his movement, her entire body language undergoes a transformation, indicating a state of alertness entirely directed toward him. Through binoculars and cameras, the sanctuary staff observes as two paths, previously separated by 8 years of wilderness and survival, begin to converge once more. They hold their breath. Marcus proceeds toward the perimeter fence, his footsteps faintly crunching on the gravel path. Each step brings him closer to a moment that could rewrite everything known about untamed animal behavior. As his heart thunders in his chest, the bear observes his approach, her massive frame remaining completely still except for her head, which monitors his movement with an unsettled focus. Marcus halts 50 yards from the boundary. The scene is now fully illuminated by the morning sun, revealing every detail of the majestic creature before him. She adjusts her position, her musculature rippling beneath her fur, which shimmers with health. The young bear he released has been transformed into the embodiment of wild force and grace after spending 8 years in the wilderness. The subsequent few seconds seem to elongate indefinitely. No one at the sanctuary is willing to exhale. Every moment is discreetly recorded by cameras. The bear gradually ascends to her maximum height, which only serves to underscore her immense size. The observation deck resonates with a collective gasp. Then, an extraordinary event transpires. A deep rumbling sound interrupts the silence, not a growl, not a typical bear vocalization, but a distinctive sound that causes Marcus's limbs to buckle. It is the precise greeting Luna employed during their morning training sessions, a sound he has not heard in 8 years. 3 steps closer, the bear sits in the exact position Marcus demonstrated during rehabilitation. "Impossible," whispers Dr. Thompson, the sanctuary's chief researcher, into his recorder. Subject is displaying learned behaviors that should have been erased by years of wild instinct. The bear elevates her right paw, holding it precisely at chest level, causing his scientific detachment to crack. Luna created the signal herself as a means of demonstrating her readiness for training sessions. Marcus's visage is beset by tears as the bear repeatedly exhibits behaviors he has previously observed. She maintains eye contact with him as she moves parallel to the fence, demonstrating the precise patrolling pattern he instructed her to use for territory inspection. They defy every scientific paper ever written about untamed animal memory, mirroring their training sessions with impossible precision. In each movement, the sanctuary staff observes Luna, a fully wild bear that has endured 8 years in some of Montana's most rugged wilderness, in stunned stillness as she continues to exhibit behaviors that should have been lost to time and instinct. She exhibits no interest in the other animals or the scents emanating from the sanctuary's food stores. Marcus is the sole focus of her attention, and her reactions demonstrate a degree of recognition that shakes the very foundation of wildlife behavioral science. Dr. Thompson's voice is brimming with emotion as he manages to articulate, "In 30 years of wildlife research, I have never witnessed anything like this. Not only does the bear's conduct indicate memory, but it also suggests a level of emotional connection that scientists had previously deemed unattainable in wild animals that had been rehabilitated. Each gesture, each response, contributes to a growing realization. Even the most resolute skeptics are left doubting their comprehension of wild animal behavior." Luna sustains this extraordinary interaction for nearly an hour. She never approaches within an unsafe distance, demonstrating both her recollected training and her untamed wisdom. The research team is in a state of panic as they attempt to capture every aspect of the encounter, aware that it will be the subject of future study. They are observing a violation of every rule in their manuals regarding wild animal behavior. As the sun ascends, Luna begins to exhibit signs of readiness to depart. However, before returning to the forest, she executes one final act that renders the entire sanctuary mute. The exact farewell gesture Marcus taught her, a behavior she used to perform at the conclusion of every training session. She briefly rises on her hind legs, her paw lifted. The implications of the movement are so overwhelming that several staff members are forced to turn away, as it is so precise and clearly intentional. Luna then turns and returns to the forest with the same grace that characterized her arrival. She pauses at the tree line, taking one final glance at Marcus. The weight of witnessing something unprecedented is felt by all in attendance as the morning sun catches her gaze, one that surpasses their comprehension of wildlife behavior. The spell of silence is broken as Luna vanishes into the forest. The research team's voices erupt in a mixture of scientific fascination and astonishment. Marcus's heart is brimming with a truth that no scientific paper will ever fully capture. His eyes remain fixated on the spot where Luna vanished. Measurements and observations are frantically recorded. Camera footage is immediately downloaded. Luna's extraordinary return and subsequent reaction become the subject of conversation within the wildlife conservation community in the days that ensue. The implications are debated among experts, and hypotheses are both proposed and challenged. Additionally, the footage is analyzed frame by frame. However, no technical explanation can completely capture the experience of those who witnessed it firsthand. They observed an untamed bear, in defiance of all scientific expectations, exhibiting not only memory but also a profound emotional recognition that left them speechless. In the weeks following the extraordinary reunion, Glacier Ridge Sanctuary becomes a center of scientific activity. The footage is analyzed and witnesses are interviewed by wildlife researchers from various regions of the country. Every frame of the encounter is examined, and each behavior is documented and discussed in the wildlife conservation community. The implications of Luna's extraordinary emotional recognition and memory display have sparked passionate discussions. Marcus finds himself at the epicenter of this scientific upheaval. However, his comprehension transcends mere data and analysis. He is drawn to the observation post by an unspoken hope, arriving at the sanctuary before sunrise each morning. His patience is frequently rewarded. Luna routinely returns. Although her appearances are less dramatic than their initial encounter, she appears at the forest's edge during his morning shifts, maintaining a respectful distance while exhibiting subtle signals of recognition that only he understands. Dr. Thompson is responsible for documenting these ongoing visits. During a staff meeting, he clarifies, "The observations we are making challenge fundamental assumptions about the cognition of untamed animals. Luna isn't just showing basic recognition, she's demonstrating long-term memory of complex learned behaviors, emotional association, and, most remarkably, the ability to balance this connection with her wild instincts." Luna's visits are captured by the sanctuary's surveillance cameras. In the early morning light, she never approaches as closely as she did on that first day, nor does she replicate the complete display of behaviors she remembers. Instead, she exhibits an even more extraordinary balance, maintaining both the recollection of an untamed bear and the recognition of a personal connection. She hunts and forages in the wilderness, maintains her territory, and still acknowledges the bond that helped her survive. Luna's story spreads beyond the scientific community. Wildlife photographers camp out, and documentary crews arrive, eager to capture the remarkable bear who remembered. However, Luna's manifestations remain private, occurring in the early morning hours when the sanctuary is still and tranquil. The effects on wildlife rehabilitation practices are significant. New approaches to rehabilitation emerge in research papers, considering the possibility of longer memory and deeper emotional capacity than previously believed. Luna's story challenges the conventional belief that successful rehabilitation requires a complete disconnection from human relationships. However, the most profound transformation may be seen in the daily operations of Glacier Ridge Sanctuary. The staff subtly shifts their approach to working with injured and neglected animals. While maintaining professional boundaries remains crucial, there is a newfound realization that the connections formed during rehabilitation may be more profound than once thought. Marcus remains as dedicated to his work as he was during his early days with Luna. However, his interactions with each animal under his supervision have deepened. One morning, as the sunrise paints the mountains in gold, he reflects, "We have always recognized the extraordinary nature of these animals. Luna has shown us just how much we still have to learn about them." As spring transitions into summer, Luna's visits become less frequent. Trail cameras strategically placed throughout the wilderness track her movements. She is observed with 2 cubs, evidence that she is successfully raising the next generation. The footage shows her teaching them survival skills, a blend of instinct and lessons learned from her time at the sanctuary, bridging the gap between the wild and the extraordinary bond she formed years ago. The scientific papers published about Luna's return and behavior focus on quantifiable data, how often she visited, the specific behaviors she exhibited, and the statistical improbability of such recognition after 8 years in the wild. However, the true significance of that extraordinary reunion cannot be captured in charts and graphs. In conclusion, Luna's story is more than a reunion between a bear and her caregiver. It is a testament to nature's ability to astonish and humble us, to the depth of bonds that transcend species, and to the complexity of animal consciousness. Those who witnessed it were not only left in awe but also introduced to possibilities they had never before considered. On quiet mornings, as mist lingers low over the sanctuary, Marcus occasionally glimpses a large bear moving through the distant trees. Whether it is Luna or another wild bear is uncertain. But what remains undeniable is the significance of that extraordinary reunion, the understanding it provided to all at Glacier Ridge. It serves as a reminder that mysteries still await discovery and that some connections defy every expectation. In the intricate web of relationships between humans and wildlife, stories like Luna's remind us that extraordinary events unfold every day, challenging our preconceived notions of what is possible. They demonstrate that connections can endure time, that memories can persist through adversity, and that sometimes, the most extraordinary reunions happen when we least expect them. If this story resonated with you, imagine how many other extraordinary stories are waiting to be discovered. To witness more remarkable moments that inspire and leave you speechless, please subscribe to our channel. Share this story with someone special who may need a reminder that extraordinary things are still possible. Every share, comment, and like helps spread more incredible stories. Join our growing community of storytellers and enthusiasts, where each day brings new opportunities to witness the extraordinary. Subscribe for more unforgettable moments that remind us of the magic of life's unexpected reunions and connections. Let's continue uncovering and sharing the stories that make us pause, reflect, and believe in the power of genuine bonds.